Okay.
Thank you for being here today
Thank you.
with me. I really appreciate it. This opportunity to speak and to share from my heart things that have totally changed my life. And I'd like to read this part that I think can touch all of our hearts from someone who is called a living treasure, and someone who was tested for having the most stable mind in the world. She was tested many, many times. And her stability is based on this path of the practice of Raja Yoga meditation. This is something very beautiful, she said. Each one of us has our own inner world. We create our own world inside ourselves. Become a detached observer and just see what type of world you have created for yourself. Whatever types of thoughts you have, that's the type of world you are creating inside yourself. Whatever feelings are in your heart, create the atmosphere of your inner world. If you are influenced by someone or suppressed by someone, then there is an invasion of your world. The best way to ensure the security and protection for your inner world is to invite God in. The more time you give and make yourself sit with God, the more God comes into your world. If you invite anyone else into your inner world, then God goes away. God is the comforter of hearts. We must keep the temple of our hearts clean so that God can come and rest in our hearts. Isn't that what we would all love to have, is that inner sanctity, that inner serenity and peace, and to have the comforter of hearts and to be a comforter of hearts? Because, well, that's what this world needs right now, is a lot of comfort and a lot of love. And that's why I'm so happy to be sharing about Raja Yoga meditation, because it does bring your inner world into a place of peace, which is very natural. You start to connect with who you are naturally, very naturally. And that actually goes beyond who you think you are in this very moment. It goes beyond your gender. It goes beyond your name, your family. It goes beyond your job. It goes very, very, very deep into being what we call an incorporeal spirit, a soul. What does that mean?
Yeah, what is a soul?
The first thing I think of when I think of a soul is light. I think of a star, and I think of being eternal. And the qualities that are within every soul are love, peace, joy, bliss, truth, and wisdom. Let me not forget purity. Because
What about all the other stuff? Isn't there other? What about all the bad stuff?
Oh, that's such a good question, because that's what we're seeing so much of, is all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
All the bad stuff was not originally there inside the soul in the very beginning.
Okay.
It's all what we call acquired. We've just acquired it from living in a three-dimensional world that has started to decline not that has started. It's almost at the end of its decline, actually, and it's going to be reset back to the beginning. But that's another whole topic.
Yeah, that's kind of more the foundational beliefs of Raja Yoga in a way.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. It's an understanding of what we call the cycle.
The cycles.
Yeah.
There's like 4
Well, yeah, there
cycles.
are 4 ages,
4
right?
ages, yeah.
There's the golden age, it's
Mhm.
the very beginning, the silver age, the copper age, and then the iron age. And it's a repeating cycle.
When I first found Raja Yoga, I actually thought that I didn't know that it was a specific like sect or an idea. You know, I just thought it was like royal yoga, or like it just meant all forms of yoga. But that's not really the way it is, right? There's actually like Raja Yoga. Before we continue, is a specific sect or ideology or belief system.
Well, you could say that it includes all the others.
Okay.
You really could say that.
Mm-hmm.
Although there is a distinction between easy Raja Yoga, easy Royal Yoga, and Hatha Yoga, which Hatha means force, and it can also be very forceful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, holding a position for a long time. Sometimes that doesn't feel so natural. I mean, you try to make it natural. The reason why we call Raja Yoga easy is because it's a returning to what is most natural in your being. And one of the most natural things that most people gravitate to is peace and love. You don't have to force yourself to be peaceful.
Yeah, it's like a lot of meditation, like sitting meditations, for the most part, is what.
Well, yeah, but no, because there's so much to be done in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even in your own personal world. And that's what's being called a karma yogi, a yogi who, it's an open-eyed meditation. The whole point being that you can do it wherever you are.
You can always be connecting
Exactly.
and bringing the sitting meditations into all things that you do in life.
Exactly, exactly. The sitting meditation prepares you for life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you can bring that state of consciousness, because it's all a state of consciousness. So you might be in a very hectic place where there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of noise and whatever. But when you've developed that inner world, that inner sanctum, it's always there for you. And then the whole point is you connect with the home where we originate. All souls originate from somewhere, and it's the same place.
Where is that?
Well, it's called nirvana, the
Okay.
place of no sound. That's simply what it means. It means the silent dimension of light that is beyond it's beyond the elements. It's beyond the 3D world of the earth, the sky, the moon, the sun, and the stars. It's beyond that. It's another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
We all come from that dimension of light. And we are light beings. You know, not in the sci-fi way that, you know, you're an extraterrestrial or anything like that. But it's just a very natural experience that you begin to have when you think about where you came from originally. It's very comforting. It's very welcoming and embracing. It's that type of feeling that you get through this meditation.
Sounds like great news.
I thought so,
Yeah.
and I still do. You know,
Yeah.
this is wow. And there is so much great news when you go within.
So
And-
it's identifying with something that's beyond, and it's a place that exists within, but it's also everywhere.
Well, it does exist within, but it also, yeah, nirvana is a very interesting thing. to visualize and to experience, but the earth is within the whole field of nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nirvana is like surrounding everything.
Okay.
So you can connect with it from wherever you are. And it is like, what it looks like is a beautiful golden red sunset. And I think that's one of the reasons why we all love to watch sunrises and sunsets, because it reminds us of that place where we came from, that place of light, that place where we go beyond.
When you meditate, you focus on a point of light within your third eye, right?
Yeah, you know something about Raja Yoga.
I'm just, well, I took a course. That's why that was my first introduction to it.
Yeah. Wow.
And I learned a lot during that time.
Fabulous.
But I missed some things. So I was hoping you could help me fill in some of those gaps. Yeah.
Well, I think you got a lot of it. I can see it in your face, in your eyes, and your love of God. I think you really did receive the essence of what Raj Yoga is. But
I think
I'm
so.
happy to.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to answer any questions.
God is kind of this like, that's a big question. I feel like we're talking about identification, or we were talking about identification earlier, as well as so many people believe in different forms of God or different aspects of God. It's this complicated thing. It's like this great mystery. So
it is.
But it's
Truly.
it's not a mystery for those who have found God in its many various forms. So what do you identify as God or as source, or what does Raja Yoga teach you? Like, I know we're kind of touching upon these things.
Wow, that's such a good question.
Like, what,
if I started from when I was a child, I had such a scary idea of what God or who God was. That God was this big being up in the heaven, and that was watching me and could judge me and condemn me, and didn't feel that helpful, actually.
Okay. Like God was something to be afraid of.
Yeah, totally. I felt very afraid of God for most of my life.
Okay.
To tell you the truth.
Not a safe space.
Not a safe space.
Yeah.
No. And so, gradually, with this meditation, feeling the unconditional, exquisite love of God, like an ocean of love, an ocean of peace, just a place that you could surrender into and be completely held and completely recharged and completely protected. Very different, very different. A God that is doing absolutely everything in his almighty power to lift you up, to help you to see that you are a divine being, that you are a loving, peaceful soul. And that's what he has come to teach us. And that everything else that has happened in your life that was a mistake or some kind of blunder, or, what would even be classified as a sin, was not anyone's actual fault. Even though you are accountable for your own karma, and it does have its own repercussions, God doesn't create those repercussions. Your own karma creates them. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's just like the law of cause and effect.
Okay.
And God doesn't interfere in that. But in terms of lifting the soul, that's really the task. Lifting and purifying the soul so that you actually have the clarity to see what you can do that will bring you the highest and greatest reward, the highest and greatest life, the highest and greatest love. He shows you the way to think, the way to act, the way to speak, that will bring you the highest joy.
What do you have to do to get to that place?
I think the biggest thing to do is to open your heart to the possibility that you are a beloved child of the Supreme Being, however you wish to call that one, the source, the creator, whatever name you call God. Just open up your heart and feel that you are a child of that one and that you are a most beloved child. And start to see the possibilities that open inside your own mind, to being that. And to being loved and to loving. I think that's the essence of all the knowledge, really.
Does Raja Yoga go against any other religions or gods or belief systems? Because like you just said that like you can connect with whatever you perceive to be God in a way, but Raja Yoga has a specific pathway to God as well, right?
Yes, I think, in all honesty, that this practice can be used by anyone in any religion who wishes to get closer to God, to feel that they really have a relationship with God. Because a lot of times in religions, there's a lot of dogma, there are a lot of rituals that you feel like maybe if I practice this, I'll get a blessing from God, or I'll get a boon, or I'll know God. But a lot of times those rituals and that dogma doesn't really do it.
Yeah, so it's like it's like God is separate from you and it's something to be afraid of, whereas this is like a universal pathway to being with God.
Yeah, I think
By entering that space.
Yeah, I like how you put that, because it makes it very accessible to all his children.
Okay.
No matter what their belief system is.
And how do you do that? Like, what are some of the tools to focus on? Like, how do you identify with God if you don't know God, or you haven't felt God yet, or you're still searching God? Or like, what are some ways to identify with this nirvana or this supreme place?
Well, yeah, you probably all know the word yoga means union, or to connect. So the first connection is actually with yourself as a soul,
Okay.
as a being of light. And that soul that you are is actually sitting in your body. Okay. You're not a body that has a soul. You are a soul that has this body for a short period of time. And you're sitting right up here in the third eye area.
Okay.
In the center of the forehead. And you just start to bring your awareness and all of your attention up there. And you start thinking and feeling. And you can even ask yourself, who am I? And you start to feel into the space, the inner space that dwells deep within you. The place that has been the least touched by the outer world, the least conditioned, the part of you that is original and eternal, the part of you that feels peaceful because it is within you. It still exists. It's eternal. That peace is eternal. Breathing helps, making sure that your whole body feels very relaxed and harmonious. and that you can actually bring this peace into the rest of your body, that you can feel fluidly peaceful. You could feel peaceful even when you're active, because it's a state of awareness. And how to get to that state of awareness is by cultivating it, by affirming it. I am peace. I am a peaceful soul. And it might take a little bit of time to really experience and stabilize in that experience. It's helpful when you are in a group sometimes and the whole group is focusing on that, and you bring that feeling of peace into the whole atmosphere of the room that you're sitting in. Because it is a vibration.
It is, yeah.
It's a frequency.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're trying to tune into, that inner frequency of the soul. And of course, the 3D world is very distracting. Even the body itself is a huge distraction.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm so uncomfortable in peace.
No! Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, because how normalized all the stimulation of this world has become for me. You know, that it's almost
right. So
it feels weird to be in like, oh, like that much love and joy and peace and calm.
wow.
You know, and I feel like I say that because I feel like a lot of people can resonate with that
Yeah.
in this day and age.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
a lot
you're
of people are
absolutely
going
right.
about their day just
You're absolutely right.
going
Yeah.
100 miles an hour.
Right, because everybody wants that coffee, that black tea, that matcha.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody wants to be on it. And that really does take us away from that inner world. It's just like, wow.
Yeah. You've been to India a bunch, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and do you feel like in America, is it like just a phenomenon that's happening right now where everything is so go 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 and capitalistic, or do you feel like in other cultures like they value connection with God, they value peace, they value just not doing as well?
Yeah. You know, being in India, I've been there about 10 times, and oh gosh, there's a different vibration there, the different frequency.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you will find peace in some of the big cities, you know, that are very distracting because they're can be very dirty and run down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very old country at this point in time.
But the priorities, you feel like there's like a energetic priority that's different?
Yes.
Or do you think it's like a worldwide phenomenon that's happening?
I think that there is built into the culture, the Indian culture, are so many beautiful aspects where I just learned this about India, that there are more charitable donations within India, more so than in any other country. So that's just built into their consciousness, that if you want to create more wealth and prosperity, then you have to give. You have to donate to the poor, to the real poor.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's an aspect that's there in
Very
almost
selfish. No, I'm kidding.
it's
doing good is a selfish act.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It reaps you a lot of reward. It does.
does.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's true. And so, mm-hmm.
So, okay, I didn't want to change the subject too much, but we can backtrack it a little bit to the connection with Source and bringing that meditation
Yeah.
and the cultivation of that awareness into all that you do. Correct? That's kind of the goal, and is to be with God.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And to
So-
bring that into.
So, you know, just to touch base with what you were saying about sometimes feeling uncomfortable with silence or uncomfortable with peace.
Mhm.
You can start out in small segments of time, like with anything else that you want to build on. Don't force yourself to sit for an hour in silence or peace and just feel really rambunctious in your body. That would be self-defeating. So you can start there are key points in the day. Like when you very first wake up in the morning, it's a very good time to just take 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and as soon as you wake up, remember, who am I? I am a soul. Before you dive into the body, before you dive into the world of activity, just affirm your true self. And my true nature is that of peace. And I am a loving being.
There are many different meditations and tools to get to that point, or are there specific, like just a couple things that you would
A couple
recommend?
things are your thoughts. Your thoughts are your foundation. Your thoughts, a lot of people feel like they're out of control of their thoughts, but the point is that they are your thoughts. So you do need to create them. You're the creator of your own thoughts.
Okay, so you want to guide your thoughts.
You want to guide your thoughts in the direction you want to go in. I would like to have a peaceful day today.
Okay.
You can even say that to your mind. Mind, I'd like to have positive thoughts today. We're going to have positive thoughts today. As the soul, you speak to your mind and you direct it. It's like you can orchestrate yourself with practice. You can command your thoughts with practice.
And are you focusing mainly on your third eye and the point in your third eye of being like a part of light and God and a speck of light?
Yeah. In the beginning, you just have to practice it a whole lot. Like, I am this point of light in the center of my forehead. You might have to tell yourself that many, many times during the day.
Okay.
Because think of how many times you have thought, I am this body, I am this person, I am Kaylee, I am this guy. You've been thinking that since you were born. Everyone's been saying that's who you are. And to kind of balance that out, we have to keep reminding ourselves, I am a peaceful soul. And eventually you will start to believe it and you will start to experience it. And the more you have this experience, you have to have the experience. You can't just go by what somebody else says. But this foundation of Raja Yoga is so deep that it is something that every soul can experience. Because it really is true. That's who you are, originally and eternally. You are a peaceful soul. And just think of all the influences that have been on human beings for so long. They have been anything but peaceful. We don't live in a quiet world. We live in a very noisy world. So if you take out some time for yourself, even if it's that first 3 to 5 minutes before you start your day, and then at the end of the day, before you go to sleep, before you put your head on the pillow, just think, how did I do? Was I more of a chaotic person, or did I incorporate some peace into my day, into the work that I was doing, into the interactions that I was having? And you check yourself. Anything that you want to increase and improve, if you check yourself on it, if you log it, you will increase it. Like if you want to walk more or run more or whatever, or eat less, whatever it is, and if you check in on it, you'll be able to achieve your goal. Well, it's the same with this. It's a goal. It's like, yeah, I want to be who I really am. I really am a beautiful, peaceful, harmonious soul. And I want to get back to that because that's how I'll be happy.
What do you think gets in the way of that?
I think what gets in the way, first of all, is our conditioning.
Okay, conditioning.
Personally, I think religion gets in the way of that, but I won't go too far into that.
Okay.
Um, most religions don't really go into depth about the qualities and the virtues of the soul. It's more like, like you've been a bad boy or you've been a
Mm.
bad girl. Like you're not doing what I say. And that's the way a lot of religions try to teach people. Well, it doesn't really work. What people learn from is when you give them encouragement, when you give them some tools, when you give them something to practice that's real,
Mm-hmm.
that's really going to give them some benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I've suffered so much in my own life, or I know friends and family who have suffered, just
Oh, yeah.
going through all the attachments of this world and all the suffering that goes along with that. And the only thing that's ever brought me peace is honestly letting all that go and just my connection with God, or my perception of God.
Well,
And that can be really hard, though, for the ego to let go of all the things that we're attached to in this life: relationships, status, money, safety, security,
I know.
our bodies,
I
all these
know.
different things that are just so impermanent. You
Well, yeah, attachment is huge. And I think what really, really helped me and still does help me is when I clarified that attachment is not love, that it's actually the opposite of love. That if I got attached to someone, then I would have expectations, I would have disappointments, I would get angry, I would make them feel bad, then I would feel bad. That it was actually the antithesis of love.
How does that happen, though?
Oh my goodness.
It's like you go into situations with love, and then at some point you get attached to that feeling, and then it kills the love, whatever it is.
It does, because
did-
it becomes a little bit selfish. You expect a lot of that person to fulfill your needs. You see,
Instead of God or yourself.
yes. So that gives you a lot of motivation, because if I think really what every human soul longs for is true love.
Then why do we why do we seek as a society things outside of ourselves when it's there all along within us? Why do we
We have
condition?
just simply forgotten. We just simply, it's just really as easy as that.
We just forgot.
We just forgot. And so that's what awakening is all about. It's like remembering. So it's interesting because on this path with Raja Yoga meditation, we don't call it meditation all the time. Mostly what we call it is remembrance.
Okay.
I am remembering who I am. And as soon as I really feel that peace and that love, I am then magnetized quite easily to the source of that love, to the source of that peace, and I'm able to connect. And that's where we come into union with true love and true peace. And that's what makes those of us who practice it very happy.
We're talking about it right now, and I already forgot. I'm kidding.
I
I'm just
forgot
kidding.
what?
Who I am.
Yeah, right. It's very slippery.
We can be talking about it, and
Because
I'm
you can't
already,
see
like,
it. You can't
Yeah.
see it. You can't buy it. You can't really touch it. You can't hear it. It's
Is it like a level of disassociation though at all? Like, is there any disassociation with this world, or like I feel like I would almost be like upset at someone for being just like, I'm just like light and God, and I'm like, but what about all these other things? Or like what about these arrangements we had, or what about these promises or these expectations, or like it's an interesting level of awareness to have. Like, have you ever triggered anybody through your identification with source and light, or have you had to break a bunch of ties in your life because it just wasn't in alignment with your true source of divinity anymore? Or like, has anyone ever thought that you were cold or anything like that?
Well, it's such an interesting point you bring up. Usually, when we think of detachment and being detached, I know I used to think of that as being cold.
Hmm.
But what we're guided to being is loving and detached. So if you go back to the thought that attachment is the opposite of love, then the only way I can truly be loving is if I'm detached, right? I have to be detached. And then I can love that person no matter what they're doing. Because I'm in a state of love. Because I am connected to the source of love. And that love is flowing through me to them. I don't need their love anymore.
Yeah, sounds like a great place to be.
It's a very great place to be. I mean,
Very liberated.
it's totally liberating. The person I was the most attached to was my son, my grown son, you know. And I think I was making both of us miserable because of the attachment and the expectations and all of that. And it was keeping him unliberated as well. And once I got it, you know, it was just like flipping on a switch. Well, this is a person you really love. Why don't you just love them? Just love them however they are and don't expect them to fit into your expectations. Just be love. And it was very liberating. It was just, and we have such a loving relationship now. Pure love.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, he can hear me. I can hear him. He doesn't feel like I'm distant, but you know, inside I know I'm not dependent on that love, and that's a very good thing. Establishing that love connection with the source of love is the greatest thing in the world. It's the greatest thing you can do for yourself, because then you become whole and you can help others to reach that place. And then you can have relationships instead of bondages. There's a big difference between being bonded or in a bondage with somebody than having a pure relationship. There's freedom. That's another aspect of the soul. Every soul values freedom, whether they've known it or not, even if they haven't tasted it in this lifetime, if they've been so unfree. But once they get a taste of freedom and that self-sovereignty that comes with that, then it's like you're unstoppable. You're free. You're free to be who you are. What could be more phenomenal than that, really? Otherwise, we get into very limited and, you know, great limitation with others. They expect you to be a certain way. If you're not, you know, it causes problems, causes disharmony. So there are a lot of practical benefits to having a relationship with God.
Do you have to be celibate or single? Like if you choose like the Raja Yoga path, like
You do not have to be single. This is considered a household path.
okay,
But,
celibacy unless it's to create life, or
well, celibacy is a big part of the Brahma Kumaris. We don't expect other people to embrace that unless they feel that is valid for themselves. Now,
I wonder what like a self-actualized relationship looks like, because oftentimes you mentioned you and your son, or like, or like in relationship we become really attached to people in our life, so I just was
Yeah.
like wondering how
Yeah.
in Raja Yoga they navigate relationship with others.
well, I have not been in a relationship with anyone since I've been with Brahma Kumaris, but I know other people who have, who are in pure relationships. We call them pure relationships. It's pure love, and where it's one soul supporting the other soul. There is a freedom in that too. The conditioning on the planet at this time is very, very deep. I think some people even think that, sexual relationships are the basis of love.
I don't, yeah.
But it really isn't.
It's like procreation and pleasure.
Yeah, it's not really anything to do with love.
Yeah. It's easy to associate those things.
It is easy to associate those things, yeah. But sex has a lot to do with the violence that we see on the planet, if you think about it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all infused.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I want this. I want this. And if the person can't get it, they can get very angry and very violent. We've seen that. We've seen that.
So how do I know God, and how does anyone listening to this know God? Where's gonna find God in this moment?
In this moment?
In this moment.
Go within.
Okay.
First. Let's come back to the heart. Come back to the center of your forehead. Remember, you are a peaceful soul. You are a beloved child of God. You are a point of sparkling, radiant light. And feel that gentleness. Feel that inner beauty. And as you connect in with that frequency, that vibration, think about connecting with the ocean of love that is beyond this world, and being completely immersed and empowered by that love, filling up every single cell in your mind, in your body, with love and peace. Remembering who I am and who I belong to. Who do I really belong to? And who really belongs to me? I am a beloved child of the highest on high. And this is an awareness. It's what we call a stage of consciousness. And when I can stabilize in this awareness and interact from this yoga, this connection with God, when I can actually become combined with the ocean of love and go through my daily life in this consciousness, I will feel so loved and so cared for I will feel so overflowing that I don't have expectations of others to fill me up, because I'm being filled. I'm being filled with everything I need as a soul. And that's who I am. I am a soul. I've taken on this body temporarily to play a role. It's a temporary role. And make sure that you're breathing. Don't feel like you're holding on to anything. You're feeling completely relaxed. You're bringing this state of awareness into every cell of your body. You're healing your heart of all the wounds, of all the broken pieces that have happened in all the different relationships, in all the different lives. And you're healing your heart with true love. I am a beautiful, peaceful, beloved child of the Supreme. I am a great and royal soul. I have this self-respect. And with this respect, I can respect everyone else. I no longer harm myself, nor do I harm another. I am one who gives only benefit to the world. This is transformational. Not only are you transforming yourself in this union, this is how the entire world will transform with this consciousness. I am a being of light, and I am connected with the source of light. I come from a world of light. I return to that world of light. I belong to the light. Om Shanti.
Wow. That was beautiful.
What a beautiful soul you are. Aw. Humble. Humble. It's in that self-respect that we truly find our goodness and our humility and our awesomeness, our creativity, our joy. And that's what we have to bring into relationships. That joy. The joy already exists. I don't have to try to get it for myself, you see?
Yeah.
Because I know the source of it.
We can just celebrate that
Oh,
together, right?
There you go.
Is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the great news.
That is the great news. And
Yeah.
I have seen couples like that.
Well, even not just in relationship, but
In life.
in I think I was thinking of all relations in a way.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can
Yeah.
bring more joy into your relationships with, because not everyone's already tapped into that joy, right?
Yeah.
But if you are tapped into that joy, it's contagious.
What if I'm not ready to be in that state of joy? What if I want to keep suffering?
And chances are you'll keep suffering,
Okay.
right? But you know what? It's a good question because,
Well, I think a lot of suffering is self-inflicted,
yeah,
So,
yeah. It is a time, we call it a time of settling, where everyone is settling their karmic accounts, okay? So if you consider this to be the end of a cycle,
oh, we're
you know,
settling up.
we're settling up. We're settling up so that we can start fresh. That's the good news.
Wow, like you can have everything then. I don't want anything.
Exactly,
Yeah, take it all
exactly,
from me.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you know that, then you're not going to try to create more karma for yourself.
Okay.
And you'll just be more agreeable, more loving, more peaceful. And when you're going through difficult times and you feel that you are settling up something and somebody's being quite unfair with you and blah, 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 you can just have this thought, well, I must be purifying this karma. This must be a karmic account. I'm balancing it out. So I'm not going to think negatively of them and create more karma. And this is how we start to gain mastery over our own thoughts. You see, the meditation, the yoga, really is very much informed by beautiful teachings that make sense. That make sense for this very moment on the planet in these times of great suffering. They make tremendous sense. And not only do they lift you out of your own suffering, but then you can share this with others. That there is a way out, and it's not taking one's own life, that's not the way out. We're eternal beings. But this is a time when we want to get back to the original state of ourselves, the original pure state of being a pure being of light. The rewards of that are tremendous for not just your next lifetime. And that's another thing, of course, is to understand the reincarnation. That's another aspect of Raja Yoga. It's pretty well acknowledged in a lot of Eastern religions that there is usually more than one life, and that's why sometimes this life can seem like, wow, what did I do? Like, why is this happening to me? And so you have a margin there. You know that, okay, I am responsible, but at the same time, I'm not to be blamed for anything, because I don't even remember. But I can just step back and go, okay, let's settle, rather than fighting against it. Well, I hope some of the things that we've shared today can help others. I love guiding people back home and helping people to get in touch with the true peace that's inside of them and to bypass all those other pathways.
Yeah, I think that's why I want to do this with you, is because I know how Raja Yoga has affected my life, and how I apply my identification with being a source of light or a point of light
Yes.
and connection with God. It's helped me so much. And I like how the meditations are done with your eyes open,
Yes.
because it does kind of bring this sense of like, okay, I can bring this into every moment of my day,
Mhm.
and especially if I am confused or stressed or forget
Yes.
who I am or
Yeah.
feel nervous or
Yeah.
anything. I just continue to like just focus on my third eye and just continue to identify as a part of God, basically. And it kind of takes away my own like ego, and it kind of is like gives me a break, you know, from like all of like
Totally.
the grasping of what should be or could be or
I like that.
needs to
Yes,
be.
you're giving yourself a break,
Yeah.
a break from being an ego and being driven by your compulsions and your desires and, all the needs and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you,
So,
do you feel like that's like a general gist of Raja Yoga, or that kind of is like a part of it,
yes,
or
it's a very big part of it.
because I know it's deep. It's not just like your point of light and a point of God, and that's it. Like there's so many other layers to it that whoever's listening to this should like further their studies if they resonate with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
is
But
that
but,
kind of
but that is the first lesson and the last lesson
Oh, great.
is to know who you are.
Okay.
To know I am a soul, I am eternal, I am not this limited ego, I am not this limited body.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you study about the soul and all the beautiful qualities within every soul, it's almost like a treasure store is inside of each of us
Mm-hmm.
that has not been explored yet. And this is the blessing that Raj Yoga brings to the world,
Mm-hmm.
is the blessing of the self and the blessings of God. To bring that divinity back into a world of materiality, where material is king right now,
Mm-hmm.
which is so temporal.
Yeah.
It's not going to last. It cannot last. So we need the eternal. It's somewhat challenging to get our minds around what does it mean to be eternal. It's just more of an experience that we have to feel,
Mm-hmm.
that we have to know. But that takes practice like everything else. Even though it is truly who I am, I need to keep affirming it, because everything around me will affirm just the opposite.
Yeah, and I guess we can finish it up with recently you've had to go through a lot of your own big life transitions that I would
Yeah.
seem have been stressful, or you've had to deal with a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been moments where you just like succumbed to the stress and you couldn't handle it anymore, or like how did you navigate through some of the harder moments in your life with this information of
That's a very good question. Um, we haven't talked very much about Maya,
mm-hmm.
but Maya is very prevalent in the world. Maya, in general, means illusion,
Mm-hmm.
but it also means distraction, and it also relates to the vices, the acquired vices. Other religions might call them sins, like the ego, the attachment, the anger, the lust, the greed. We actually have a little acronym, ALGAE, ALGAE, anger, greed, lust, ego, and attachment.
Okay.
And so those are always waiting around the corner for you. Like if you slip and you forget and you think, oh, why is this happening to me? Poor me. Bingo, Maya has got you.
Mm-hmm.
She's very subtle. Once you know that Maya at this point in time can be just as strong as the light. In other words, it's the battle, the light and the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so that's where the practice comes in, the vigilance, how would I say, it's a pure desire to stay in that state of consciousness of being happy. It's a very pure desire. Or to be peaceful. It's a pure desire. And as long as that is alive in the soul, then you can come back to who you truly are. And so that's how I've gotten around it. I mean, there have been moments, where I was saying to God, why is this happening? And that doesn't happen that often, but I usually get a pretty good response back. You know, it just.
An actual response?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It does. I do. But that's after developing a very good relationship with the beloved.
So it's becomes easier for you
It becomes
because you do focus on it every day and
yeah.
it's very much your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It becomes easier. Definitely becomes easier. I mean, if you knew me before, I was what I would call myself a worrywart. I was the biggest worrywart. I would just worry about anything and everything, and thinking that I was caring about everything. But it wasn't. It was worrying, and worrying is, very close to anxiety. I didn't feel like I was experiencing anxiety, but it's like creating things that don't really exist. And that is a form of mind. You're worrying about the future. You're worrying about something that hasn't happened. But what you come to realize is that you can actually create what you don't want through worry.
Yeah, that's like half my life.
You absolutely don't want to do that kind of creation.
No, you don't.
You want to be a creator in line.
So you want to identify as a source of light, but you also want to create as well. You don't want to be like stagnant.
No.
Okay.
Oh no, I think it's impossible for a soul to be stagnant. Once you know you're a soul, the difference between there's huge differences between soul consciousness and body consciousness, and that's another whole part of the
Wow.
which you understand and learn. But this is in a nutshell. A body, in order to stay alive, needs to consume. It needs to get. It needs to have. A soul, in direct opposite of that, a soul is constantly radiating. The natural essence of a soul is to give. It's just giving light. It's its natural phenomena. Is the soul gives. And that is a whole different way of life. There's no stagnation. But if you slip into the body consciousness, and then the laziness comes in, the carelessness, the those are vices too. Laziness is not a good thing, because it makes you forget. We really, really don't want to forget. We want to stay alert.
Yeah, it's a fine line. I mean, I could just start sitting right now and just focusing on God and not do anything for the rest of my life. But
but the more God energy you receive, the more of that power that you get,
yeah,
the more you want to do, the more enthusiasm. A big part of Raja Yoga meditation and Raja Yoga way of life is zeal and enthusiasm. Without zeal and enthusiasm, you have nothing. You don't really have a life. No, it's not about going to a cave. That's the old paradigm. Sitting in the cave and on the lion skin or the tiger skin, whatever, and, having your prayer beads, that is not it.
Okay.
This is meditation in action. That's being a karma yogi. That's being very much part of the world, but not of it.
Beautiful. And where can people find out more about Raja Yoga and either your teachings or the teachings of Raja Yoga as a whole?
Well, we do have websites. Certainly people who are interested can reach me on Kauai. I don't have the website on the tip of my tongue, but it's the Brahma Kumari World Spiritual University. If you Google Brahma Kumari World Spiritual University, you will get a beautiful website, complete with little 1-minute meditations, 2-minute meditations, and lots of knowledge. If you are interested, if you're local, or even you want to do something, lessons or meditations online, you can always call me. You can just use my phone. I'm not that much of a high-tech person. I don't have my own website. But
Well, there's also trainings all around the world, right, that are free.
oh, absolutely
They're like
everything
free
the Brahma
summer.
Kumaris do is free.
Yeah,
It's a donation based, and that
donation based. Sorry,
it is, but it is free. If somebody doesn't have anything to contribute in that moment, that's fine. There, no one is ever turned away. But the way we generate, you know, I mean, it's amazing how people do contribute to this organization. Totally, nothing has a price tag. When I go to India and I stay there for a month, and I stay at it's called a university, the Raj Yoga World Spiritual University. We have 3 amazing, beautiful Indian meals a day. We have accommodations. We have hot water. We have gifts. We're constantly being gifted with things. And there's no registration where you sign up and say, well, for 1 month, you have to pay $3,000. There's nothing like that. But you give from your heart because it is in your self-interest to give. That's how you're creating your fortune. If you just take, that's definitely embodied consciousness, right? And that's where most people are at. It's give and take, give and take.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual organization. Raj Yoga is totally, Brahma Kumari is totally a spiritual organization. We're just give, give, give. And in that giving, so much comes back. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so the last question. So you can be in a state of total giving and full embodiment and complete not disassociation, but unattachment to everything as well. And you can do that in your life? Like if you had millions and millions of dollars, you wouldn't be attached to any of it. You would just use it as service to others and just
That is such a good question.
keep everything.
It's such a good question. But I have seen that. I haven't had millions and millions, so I don't know how that would change me. I certainly wouldn't want it to change me, because I have such a good life now, even though I don't have millions and millions. But our organization has millions and millions and millions,
Yeah.
and yet the heads of our organization are very, very simple. They have very simple needs. We're not consumers. We don't have to consume to be happy. We don't have to have fancy vacations to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Or to get away from it all. So I could say absolutely yes. You
Okay.
can have millions and millions and still walk around being blissed out. And this part takes a while, and it is a practice. But the more you take on the burdens of your own life, the more you feel responsible for making things happen and doing it yourself, the more God will let you do it yourself.
Do we want that?
No.
I was gonna say
That is the hard way.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's not working out.
No, it does not. It absolutely doesn't work out, and that's how I was doing it too when I was
Yeah.
younger. And so that's why I say it takes a while to really trust that, to let go of all your responsibilities. It's not like you are not, like God is still acting through you. So you still have to do things, absolutely. But you'll have more energy to do it. You'll get it done more effectively and efficiently and happily. Totally. But if you think you have to figure everything out and take on these burdens and these worries without surrendering them, that's the wrong way to go about it, because then you'll be stuck with those worries. But if you surrender them in your meditation every day, I surrender this. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I know that you will take it on. And it's trust and it's faith. And we have a little saying in the Brahma Kumari world, those who have faith in the intellect are victorious. So, yep. I have learned a lot about letting go of responsibility, and It doesn't mean I'm not responsible, because I am. I'm actually very responsible.
Yeah.
Very responsible. Um, but I know who's in charge. I know who's making it happen. That gets my ego out of it, because if I think I'm doing everything, oh my goodness, then my ego's only going to get larger and larger and larger, and that means I'll probably get more and more miserable, right? The bigger your ego, you know, the more unnatural your life.
Yeah. Or you might become a martyr, go the opposite direction. Just do more and more, but just like don't give yourself any credit.
Yeah, you don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
No, self-respect
Yeah,
is
self-respect.
totally the balance point. You really need to have self-respect, and you need, well, yeah, we have teachings every day that bolster our self-respect so much. Like, you can come into this practice with no self-respect, having been beaten down by life, and God says, here, let me raise you. Truly, you are my divine child. I adore you. You are a great soul. He gives us so many titles every day.
Yeah.
You are a master almighty authority. You are
Great.
becoming like me.
Sounds amazing. Great affirmations.
Great
and
affirmations.
Great things to connect to. Yeah.
And these are this is how you accumulate pure thoughts. The more pure thoughts you have, the greater your life will be. And so it's all really inside. That is really what we're responsible for, is our thoughts about ourselves and about the world. So to have pure and positive thoughts about yourself and about others, that is such a good starting point. And that's what this is all about. It really is about self-empowerment, self-sovereignty, and really being in love with the highest on high. That's my perspective on it. And the goal is to be happy and to spread that happiness. And Kaylee, I know you're going to do that.
I'm so glad I came by.
Yeah, but don't allow yourself to be a martyr.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely don't. Don't be impressed by anyone.
How much I owe you for this session?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Don't allow anyone. Don't be impressed by anyone. Just want to make sure that it was still all good. I have just a few more minutes left on the thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I have a tendency to put people on a pedestal and to give all my power up to people, and I so much want other people to be happy, that I would do anything for them, and sometimes it gets in the way of my connection with God, a lot of times. So,
okay. So yeah, there's methods for everything. They're called yuktis in Hindi.
Okay.
Baba gives us, he gives us so many methods. Now, one of the methods to not be impressed by anyone is to know that whatever goodness you see in them has come from the Almighty. And just to remember that, so that you're not impressed by that.
It's like God working through them.
Exactly.
And they're just allowing themselves to be a channel
or an instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very, very, very important for both parties, really, because it doesn't help the other person for you to be impressed with them.
No, it doesn't.
No, it's just like an aggrandizement of their ego, and they're not even the one doing, any goodness that we have is coming from the source. We can embody it, and that is very important. But to know that's just your natural nature, and it's the natural nature of everyone.
While we have just a few more minutes left on this thing recording, what is your ideal scenario, do you think, for humanity or for souls on this earth? Like, what is the ideal outcome and the way that we could be living as a collective at this point in time?
Oh my goodness, it's such a beautiful question, and it's so beyond our present awareness. My name, Shivalia, means Temple of Shiva, which relates to the Golden Age, which relates to true heaven on earth. Now, true heaven on earth is a state of consciousness that we are presently creating with every thought, with every action. And those thoughts are of soul consciousness. It's being in a state of soul consciousness where everyone has embodied perfect love, perfect peace, perfect happiness. This is all possible with the help of God. And what happens then onto the earth is that the earth gets totally recharged, gets reset, becomes like it was in the beginning on the very first day of the Garden of Eden, so to speak, when everything was perfect. So that is part of our understanding of the cycle, that it goes back to perfection, that everyone will attain their most perfect state.
Gosh, we need that.
Don't we ever?
We kind of do. It's not even like yeah.
Yeah, because we're all at our most degraded right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, fast forward the way things are right now on the planet, a couple hundred years.
Oh no.
Not even a chance.
No, not a chance.
Not even a chance.
Oh,
Yeah.
not a chance. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. No, we know that. We know the earth couldn't handle that, going in the same direction. Never mind the souls. No. That's not a reality. That's
Well, thank you for reincarnating in this time. And thank you for your time this morning right now and doing this. I really appreciate it.
Well, it was such an honor to be here with you, and in this way, and I hope that you will have a wonderful journey through your rest of your life, and that you are guided. You are guided by the highest on high.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As are you.
Yeah. We are children of that one, and we are so blessed. So thank you.
Blessed.
So blessed.
Gosh, that's amazing. Do you need anything? Can I offer you anything?
I feel pretty good right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for having been able to share. I mean, that is really, like I said, the true nature of the soul. We just love to share the goodness.
I love it. I'm so excited. I can't wait to listen to it and go over it.
Mm.
Oh, thank you.
Shanti.